Moscow. A building on the Bersenevskaya embankment, 2 steps away from the Kremlin. The monumental block of flats was built in 1931. This historic building hosted the upper crust of the Soviet state. The political party officials, celebrities, famous performers, writers, and scientists. Today, one of the oldest citizens of Moscow is welcoming guests to his apartment in this legendary building. Dimitry Safonov, born on the 12th of October, 1909. In 2014, a former diplomatic official, Dimitry Safonov, celebrated his 105th birthday. His unusual apartment in the very center of Moscow is the starting point of our scientific journey around Russia.
I'm Vera Misina, a doctor of biological sciences, senior research scientist at the Institute of General Genetics. I'm 34 years old.
Vera Misina, the doctor of biological sciences, has been interested in the questions of longevity since she was a student.
It is clear that everything is born and that everything dies. This is naturally indisputable. But why is it particularly 100? Who imposed those limitations? How can we extend those borders? That is the question. Nikolai Petrovich Dubinin, a genetic scientist, said that human beings are not limited to living for 100 years. They could even live up to 350. I think this film will help me primarily to systemize my questions somehow, to give answers to some and possibly formulate the rules, which will help me personally to live longer.
Dimitry Safonov lived 90 years out of his over 100 years life in the cities. As a teenager, he fled from his village to Leningrad. Then he found himself in Moscow. He graduated from the Bauman Technical College on the day when the Second World War came to the USSR, the 22nd of June, 1941. A year after the victory, Safonov started his service in the People's Commissariat of Foreign Affairs. I worked in the USA, in the Secretariat of the United Nations Organization, and in England, and I opened embassies in 3 countries in Africa, the first Soviet embassies. In 2 of those African countries, Uganda and Liberia, I worked as an ambassador, 5 years in each. The centenarian retired in 1977. This honored diplomatic official is still a very welcome guest at ceremonial receptions in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. People often ask me, how should I live in order to stay alive for as long as you have? I usually answer that I've never followed any special rules. Moreover, I did deviate from a healthy lifestyle quite a bit. For instance, I smoked for more than 30 years. I also drank, but I always knew when to stop. I never drank too much or ate too much. Everything in moderation. Dimitry tried to stop smoking a few times, but he only succeeded when he was 59. After 20 years, the Kremlin doctors issued their verdict: a heart valve replacement. When they first diagnosed me with this, they said, it will last you forever. However, I wore it out, and they had to insert a new one saying, well, this time you won't need to have it replaced for sure. But I had to have it replaced the 3rd time, and recently, the 4th time. This time I think I will suffice to the end. The issue with a heart valve is the only serious health issue the 104-year-old man has. There are no other serious diseases in his medical records. Even the 10 years he spent in the hot climate of Africa did not affect his unprecedented health. I am a knight of the Great Award of the Liberation of Africa.
Do you remember when you received this award?
Sure I do. It was around 1975.
In 1975?
1975. A good memory is a prerequisite for a high-quality life. Almost all the participants in our scientific journey demonstrate brilliant long-term memories at the age of 100. Dimitry is no exception. I remember it very well. The way the First World War started. We lived on a farm. There was a threshing mill nearby. All of a sudden, we see someone galloping over from the neighboring farm. He approached our threshing mill, and my grandfather asked him, "What has happened?" He said, "The war started." And then someone started howling, not crying, but howling, which only happens when someone dies, when someone close to you dies. I'm sorry to keep you. A 104-year-old man remembers events which happened 100 years ago with ease. It is much more difficult to remember the recent events at an old age. A gradual deterioration of neural connections usually leads to a decline in short-term memory.
Dimitri, let's do a little test. I will say a few words and you will try to memorize them and then repeat them.
Okay, if there are not too many of them.
No, not too many. The first word is pencil.
A pencil.
The sun.
Sun.
A tree.
Tree.
A pitcher. A pitcher.
A poacher.
A pitcher.
Pitcher.
A dog.
Dog.
Have you memorized them?
Yes.
Then I'll ask the next question. Let's do a little test.
The following questions are meant as a distraction.
Where are we now?
Where are we?
Yes.
We are in Serafimovich Street, number 2.
Wonderful. What is the date today?
If I'm not mistaken, it's the 24th?
Which day of the week is it today?
Friday.
Okay. Let's now try to go back to the previous question and remember the words which you repeated after me.
A tree. Sun. Pitcher. I can't remember the others.
That's okay.
A 104-year-old man managed to remember 3 words out of 5. According to medical standards, this is a satisfactory result for an 80-year-old man.
One word seemed to be difficult to him initially, pitcher. However, in the end, he remembered 3 words out of 5, including one of the words that was difficult for him. I think it is a brilliant result for a 100-year-old person.
Human memory is unique. It allows one to feel special. Forgetfulness deprives a person of their identity. A forgetful person becomes disoriented, dependent on others. A longest-living person from Moscow, Dimitry Safonov has come up with his own way to keep his mind fine-tuned. At the age of 85, he started writing his memoirs. At the age of 90, he mastered the computer by himself. He published his first book at the age of 93.
You have to have a good memory to start with in order to write memoirs when you are 100 years old. There is one more important thing. You have to have an analytical mind in order to describe everything, to present it and turn it into an accomplished piece of writing.
To date, the centenarian writer has written 10 books containing his memoirs and reflections. Dimitry is not planning to stop either. He works on his computer without taking a day off. A few hours every day. I am not tired of living. It's probably because I always have something to do. It not only keeps me alive, it inspires me. I am far from thinking that some destiny is ruling my life. I am more inclined to think that it's the destiny that is dragging behind me. I am making my life the way it is, and my destiny says, I've been working beside you all this time. People sometimes ask me if I ever get bored. Never. Even at night, when I am falling asleep, my mind is always busy with something. An engineer by education, diplomatic official by occupation, Dimitry Safonov refers to his literary work as the vaccination against aging. The relationship between work and longevity is currently the subject of scientific research. The statistics accumulated over half a century allowed scientists to draw a startling conclusion. It turns out that creativity prolongs life. We have analyzed longevity and found out that classical musicians live longer. 40% of harp players live up to the age of 90. This is unusual, isn't it? The reasons are not yet clear. We are trying to discover them. Social recognition is also important. We can say that honored artists live longer than those who do not get recognized by the general public. Actors who were awarded an Oscar in America live longer than those who were not. Professor Vladimir Anisimov is a recognized authority in the world of gerontology. He is one of the experts of the UN Aging Program. There are a lot of theories related to aging, but they all boil down to two basic hypotheses. The first one is the accumulation of faults, because the longer you live, the more your body tissues and systems, from molecules to the entire body, become worn out. And genetic factors, which define your lifespan and longevity. Around 35% is explained by those factors. The rest is defined by the environment, including the diet, the location, circadian rhythm, daylight patterns, and so on. Light pollution is a scientific term coined in the 20th century. City nightlife and 24-hour lighting impact human health negatively. Those factors destroy the normal hormone balance. Receptors generating melatonin are affected the most. 70% of this hormone is generated at night, in complete darkness.
Is insomnia an issue then?
No, it's not insomnia. It's just one of the components. Insomnia is also bad. People who work in shifts have a higher rate of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, and cancer. The experiments conducted in this laboratory showed that a deficit of the night hormone rapidly decreases the life of the test animals. The introduction of products that contain melatonin is one of the priorities of applied gerontology.
According to statistics, the number of centenarians have increased. Why does this happen?
Because living conditions are improving. Preventative measures contribute a lot. People are much more into exercising than earlier. They eat better foods, are more selective. An educated person will not go and eat junk food. The level of education plays an important role. Educated people live longer. People who achieved a lot, say Nobel Prize winners, live the longest. Today we can not explain it, but this fact deserves scientific attention. A high level of education is characteristic of the city's population. A good example is St. Petersburg. Around 40% of the population are university graduates. The lifespan of the northern capital is 3 years longer than the all-Russian index. The average lifespan here is 73.5 years. There are 306 local centenarians, which contribute to this high mark.
Yes, I found a mistake. I have to insert a letter here. One letter is missing, and one is extra. Formation of an embryo. There you go, corrected.
Olga does not hear or see well. Those natural ailments do not prevent her from continuing her life's work. Her official retirement happened in the 1960s. But even now, the embryologist has not left the science.
My name is Olga Ivanova. I am 100 years old.
Olga Ivanova has always lived in cities. She was born in St. Petersburg before the revolution. She spent her childhood and teenage years at the Black Sea coast. Her earliest memories go back to that period.
Back then, we lived in Evpatoria, Crimea. Nikolai II and his family came there. We lived in a beautiful house with a terrace by the seaside. And we knew that he was going to pass by our house. We went out onto the terrace, jumped and shouted, "Hooray!" Clapped and watched. And indeed, he passed by our house. But naturally, I didn't really see him. I only saw women wearing big white hats there. I remember it though very well. She remembers her life very well. Not only does she remember her childhood well, but her entire life. The phenomenon of Olga is exceptional. She's never stopped her scientific work. She works 2 to 3 hours a day, at the computer, mind you. And even after those 2 to 3 hours at the computer, she continues to train her brain and memory by playing Solitaire.
Solitaire, which was introduced in the 17th century, is a card game where luck plays a big role. Professor Ivanova keeps a big number of intricate solitaire combinations in her mind. This game is a way to distract herself and to train her mind.
I doze a bit after lunch, and then play solitaire to wake up. And then I can work a bit more. I really want to finish and publish what I'm working on now. That is, it's probably vanity. Maybe no one needs this work, but you know, I just want to do it. There are a lot of long-living people among scientists. Why is that? It is because their minds are always fine-tuned. They read all the time. They learn new things. They always have a meaning for their lives. It is as they're racing through this life, because they haven't learned everything yet, haven't yet understood all there is to understand, have not yet resolved all that needs to be resolved in order to leave.
This fascinating elderly lady is an exceptionally multifaceted person. She's an author of a monograph about mythical animals. She also illustrates her own work.
Okay, so I'm going.
Okay, Mom.
I'm going this way. You can do whatever you want.
Yes, we will do what we want.
I will try not to pay attention to you.
The 70-year-old son of Olga is her support. Mikhail followed in his mother's footsteps. He's been working in the field of biology all his life. Mother?
I normally wake up around 9 a.m. We have breakfast. We have lunch at different times. This depends on my son. He's got things to do, this, that, and the other. Usually around 4 p.m. And we have dinner around 9 p.m.
What to do? That's the way I walk. Olga doesn't eat much. More than anything, she misses communication with her colleagues and daily walks. In recent years, her legs have been failing her. She moves around the apartment with the aid of a special frame. Another Russian centenarian who lived a fascinating life is preparing to celebrate his birthday around 1,500 kilometers away from St. Petersburg. Vasily Sivolapov, I am 100 years and 11 months old. Kirovo-Chapetsk, previously a restricted access city with a population of 75,000 people. In Soviet times, important strategic nuclear and chemical industrial objects were located here. A huge chemical plant located at the bank of the Vyatka River is still in operation. When Vasily was born, neither the plant nor Kirovo-Chapetsk were established yet. I've been working at the plant since 1929. Then I left. I never worked on a collective farm. I had a lot of different jobs. I was a general laborer, then studied to be the assistant of a train engineer and a mechanic, and I also worked in a mine at the Angero-Sudzensk mines in Siberia. Vasily was born in southern Siberia. He endured a lot of hardships during his long life. In 1920, I participated in the hunger strike. In 1933, 1934, we were given 400 grams of bread. So if you ate it all at once, you would have to wait 24 hours to get another 400 grams. In December 1941, the military unit of a Sergeant Sivolapov was sent to the theater of operations from Omsk. The destination, Leningrad. Vasily defended the siege city from the first to the last day of the siege. He was wounded 4 times during that period, and twice it was a close call. The Germans fired mortars at us. One mine exploded close enough that I was wounded. The wound was on my back. I had 18 stitches there, all along my back, but didn't reach my spine, so I was lucky, and it ended well.
Good day, Vasily.
Good day, Natalia.
How are you?
I am well.
Let's take a look.
Let's do that.
How are you doing? Do you feel dizzy?
So. I felt a bit dizzy in the morning.
Okay.
But now I'm fine.
Okay, please get undressed, Vasily.
Vasily moved to Kirovo-Chapetsk in 1947. Today he lives in a 5-story block of flats, in an ordinary 1-bedroom apartment. He's been carrying yet another reminder of the war for 70 years now.
Here he has a bullet. He has an X-ray. Here, can you see? This is a bullet.
Most probably it was a sniper. I think it was a sniper, because the bullet went into my chest and flew out here. My whole arm didn't function. The bullet was found here. I was aghast. How is that possible? The bullet of the Finnish sniper does not bother the veteran at all. His only complaint is bad eyesight.
Vasily, your blood pressure is 120 over 80.
What is it?
120 over 80.
Okay.
This is excellent.
Yeah, sure, it's good blood pressure.
Your sugar level is in the normal range. Your pulse and blood pressure are both fine. Your lungs are fine too.
Thank you.
I wish all my patients were like you.
Thank you. One more fascinating fact is that at the age of 101, Vasily does not need any assistance. He is completely independent 24 hours a day. his son, 2 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren only come here to visit him. I do everything by myself, and I provide for myself and support myself completely. I do shopping, cooking, washing my things, and clean the floor, all by myself. I am thinking to myself, why would I ask someone? It's good for me. I'm doing some exercise, keep myself mobile, which is important in life. You may well ask why he's living so long. Firstly, I'd say good genes. Secondly, it is necessary to follow the right lifestyle. It's not possible to check the genetic background of the Kirovo-Chapetsk centenarian today. His mother died at the age of 55. His father didn't make 40, dying from typhoid. Both of his brothers died during the war. What could have caused the longevity of the male part of the Sivolapov family is a question which will remain unanswered. Vasily was the youngest in the family. He never smoked and never drank alcohol. Finally retiring on pension at the age of 80, he continued to live according to the principle, always keep going. His daily routine is to walk for 1.5 kilometers to the Eternal Flame Monument and back home. I walk in winter too. Of course in winter too. It's very rare that I won't go. I always go. Vyatka is nearby. You know Vyatka, yes? I sometimes sit there or go to look around, and that brings me joy. Such great joy. You can't imagine. My entire body is one with nature. Over there are cars. The air is different. There, where the buildings are. When you come here, you feel it. The air is different. It's pure. The centenarian from Kirovo-Chapetsk is exceptionally fit for his age. He is one of the most active characters of the centenarian's rules of life. That is why our expert Vera Misina was able to conduct the most surprising research of the project.
The impulses that come from the brain occur there through certain synapses, through nerve endings. Over time, the number of those endings decreases, and that's why one's reaction becomes slower. That is why it's very important to appraise the reaction of such a physically active centenarian. His coordination. Vasily, we will play a little game now.
Okay.
I will throw a ball at you, and you will throw it back to me. Shall we try?
Yes, got it.
Then catch it. And now throw it back. Wow, great. Can you imagine it? The eyesight, the coordination. He's managed to appraise the distance between us at his age and caught the ball. And he threw it back to me.
After each throw, the distance between the expert and the centenarian increased. At the last stage, it was about 2 meters.
Great. At the age of 100, when all processes should be slow, when it's difficult to walk, to sit, to do any other action, he was catching a ball from a large distance. Vasily.
Yes?
Even at 100 years, you managed to play with the ball very well.
I realize not everyone can do it at my age, certainly.
Oh yes, but you can.
Yes, I am still okay.
You're still going strong, aren't you?
Yes. The exceptional physical condition of Vasily Sivolapov at 100 years old is a genuine phenomenon. Hundreds of gerontologists are studying such phenomena all around the world. But they haven't yet managed to find out the genes for longevity in the DNA of the centenarians. A good night's sleep is the foundation of a healthy life. Vasily Sivolapov from Kirovo-Chapetsk has been following this rule for over 100 years. His day always includes an after-lunch siesta. As soon as I've had my lunch, I drop on my bed and sleep like a baby. Sleeping, guys, is very good. Remember it. When you feel peaceful, when you feel well and have slept well, you don't need any doctor. One more commandment of the centenarian is to keep your temper in check. Sometimes people argue over nothing for some petty reasons and feel anxious. It's not good. We all have nerves from head to toe. That's how it is. You have to keep calm. Walk away. Shrug it off. Don't get involved. It is better that way. The owner of this birth certificate has lived a life full of hardships. Today, his life is not easy either. The life of a pensioner in the Russian province. Thanks to his nature, self-discipline, and wisdom, he has approached his century's anniversary with a mindset which is very unusual for his age. Vasily Sivalapov, of 100 years old, is a happy-go-lucky guy.
Without any special education, he managed to create his life to listen to his body in such a way that he lived to be 100. I think he'll stay with us for many more years.
According to statistics, the average lifespan of men in Russia is 66 years old. Of women, 76. The woman who lives in this old building surpassed that limit over 20 years ago.
Augusta Malik. I was born in 1913.
The birthplace of Augusta is about an hour away from Kirovo-Chapetsk. Slobodskoy is considerably older than its industrial neighbor. This location was first mentioned in the second half of the 15th century. The father of Augusta bought an apartment in this merchant's house in the beginning of the 20th century. As a successful manufacturer, he managed to provide a good education for his children.
I worked as a quantity surveyor and economist. In general, I helped everyone who needed help.
Augusta worked at the local fur factory Belka for over 30 years. It's about 3 kilometers away from her house. She walked to work every day until retirement.
Where do you go by bus? You have to walk. Look around. I've always walked. I'd leave my house and walk to Belka. Walk, 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 walk. That's it.
In 2010, Augusta damaged her leg very bad. Now she can't walk. Despite that, the 100-year-old woman continues to keep fit.
What exercises do you do? First of all, like this? Wow. Then like this, 10 repetitions? Wow. I'm a little despondent now. Before I was okay. I see. Have you always exercised? Every day?
Augusta is a native of the Kirov region. That is why finding the proof of her extreme age in the local archives was rather straightforward. Confirmation is one of the major problems gerontology is facing. We need the 9th shelving unit. This is ours?
It's almost like a submarine.
That's right. Yep. The Public Records Office of the Kirov region is one of the biggest regional archives in Russia. Over 1 million historical documents are stored here. The oldest birth certificates to be found here date back as far as 1742. Augusta, entry 20, number born on the 16th of November 1913, christened on the 19th of November, in the village of Kainsk-Perevoz. Her father, Mikhail Malik, a farmer, his wife, Lydia, both are Orthodox.
Arkady, please tell me, what are those books?
Those are registers of birth, marriages, and even deaths. They came in duplicate. One copy was given to the church, the other was passed to the city of Vyatka, to the Vyatka consistory. Those registers survived almost entirely since the middle of the 18th century. Moreover, churches gave us some of their books to store in our archives as well.
Confirmation of longevity is one of the key issues because a lot of things can get in the way of finding out someone's true age. Documents can get lost, people could alter their age for some reason. In the end, longevity is a subject of pride. For any location and a country as a whole, the authenticity of the information found in the archives is beyond a doubt.
The genetic scientist Vera Misina does not have a single doubt about the extreme age of this centenarian. This old house with a Russian stove is the final stop on our journey. The scientific journey around central Russia is drawing to a close. It is time to finalize this expedition of the centenarian's rules of life.
Rule number 1, always move forward. Don't stop. Walk as much as possible. It is the easiest and most accessible way of exercising. Rule number 2, don't ever stop intellectual activity, any type of it. Solve puzzles, play solitaire, write poems, or just write down your memories. Fill your life with meaning. And rule number 3, sleep enough and don't overindulge yourself when it comes to food.
The expert made her conclusions. The search for the rules of healthy longevity continues. The next participant in our project will explore the mountainous regions of our country.